I was declared guilty in court. Evidence was fabricated and everyone turned their backs on me. I didn't argue. I just kept every piece of paper. When the verdict came, I stood there in silence, and the people who had been shouting couldn't say a single word. When the judge called my name, the room felt heavier than air. Wooden benches creaked and someone swallowed a cough like it was disrespectful to breathe too loudly. The prosecutor lifted a file and spoke in a tone that sounded final, like the decision had already been made before anyone walked into the room. I looked at her eyes. There was no certainty there, just urgency. The kind of urgency that needs someone to blame fast. I didn't say anything. My lawyer leaned in and whispered, "We'll appeal." I nodded, but I already knew that whatever happened next, my life outside that courtroom had already changed. It all started with a small accusation. I worked at a warehouse on the west side of the city. Paycheck to paycheck. Rent, car payment, my mother's medication. That was the math of my life. One day inventory came up short. Someone said I altered the logs. Someone produced an email with my name on it that I had never written. Phone calls followed. Questions piled up. Then came the handcuffs. As they walked me out, one coworker looked away. Another shook his head and said, "Man, I didn't know." I didn't say anything either. The first night in jail was cold. Thin blanket. Harsh light that never fully shut off. I stared at the scratches on the wall where other men had counted days and wondered how I ended up there. In the morning my mother called. Her voice was shaking. "Is this true?" she asked. I said, "No, but I have to prove it." She stayed quiet for a moment, then said, "Take care of yourself." I hung up and asked for paper. I started keeping everything. Receipts. Shift schedules. Printouts. I rebuilt every day from memory. Who said what at what time, where I was standing. My cellmate Ray watched me write one night and asked, "Why you doing all that?" I said, "Because memories can lie. Paper doesn't." He laughed and said, "Even in America?" I shrugged. I wasn't trying to be hopeful. I was trying to be precise. Life outside didn't pause. I lost my job. Insurance ran out. An eviction notice showed up. I didn't text friends. Some unfollowed me on their own. One sent a message that said, "I stay away from drama." I took a screenshot and added it to the folder. It wasn't revenge. It was order. I needed order because everything else felt like noise. My lawyer told me the case was weak but loud. "People are shouting," he said. "And judges are human." I said, "Then we'll give humans proof." I dug up an old IT ticket describing a system glitch in the logs. I found a text from a former supervisor that said, "These numbers don't look right, but let it go." I didn't twist anything. I didn't exaggerate. I just laid it flat. On the day of trial my knees shook but my voice didn't. The prosecutor showed charts. Witnesses spoke. One said, "I saw him do it." I looked at my lawyer. He stood up and asked one question. "Which date are you talking about?" The witness froze. The date was wrong. A murmur rolled through the room. I still didn't speak. During a break, an older woman approached me. She was a court volunteer. She handed me a cup of water and said quietly, "What's right comes out eventually." It wasn't a miracle. Just a human voice in a hard place. I thanked her. The day before the verdict, a new document arrived. The defense submitted a forensic report. The email header wasn't mine. The log timestamps showed signs of alteration. That IT ticket everyone ignored was suddenly central. The prosecutor's jaw tightened. The judge removed his glasses and leaned back. When the verdict came, I was standing. My name was called again. Not guilty. 2 words. The room forgot how to breathe. The people who had been loud before went silent. No one clapped. I didn't react. I closed my folder. Outside the courthouse, the sky was clear. My mother hugged me hard. "Want to go home?" she asked. I said, "Yes, but first one place." We drove past the warehouse. The doors were shut. I took a photo. It wasn't revenge. It was closure. The next week, a small firm called me. "We need someone who stays steady under pressure," they said. The pay was modest, but the trust was real. I said yes. A church helped me with temporary housing. Ray shook my hand when he got out. "I told you," he said, smiling. I said, "No. I wrote it." I started over slowly. New routine. Early mornings. Quiet nights. I kept my documents organized even when I didn't need to anymore. I showed up early. I listened more than I talked. I didn't tell my story unless someone asked, and even then I kept it short. I wasn't interested in being known for what happened to me. I wanted to be known for what I did next. Months passed. I paid off debts in small chunks. I got insurance back. I helped my mother with her appointments. Sometimes anger tried to surface, but it didn't stay long. I had learned something important in that courtroom. Noise doesn't bring justice faster. Structure does. Patience does. I never yelled at the people who lied. I never demanded apologies. My revenge wasn't about destroying anyone. It was about carrying the truth to a place where lies couldn't stand upright. When I finally reached that place, I didn't need to say a word. I still keep every paper. I still don't shout. And when I think back to the day they thought I was finished, I realize something simple and solid. Silence didn't break me. It built me. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to show your support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs it. Your support keeps these real stories alive. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey.